listen, honey, I figured out that there's some foods that can trigger migraines. I'm going to write them down for you. And I really recommend that you stop eating them for like a month or so just to see if it helps your migraines. It made the world of difference for me. She grabbed a little pad of paper and she was writing down on it. And she said to me, if you ever tell anybody that I gave you this list or I had this conversation with you, I could get fired. Do you understand? And she said, please don't ever tell anyone where you got this information, right? And I was just shocked. Like, why would anyone begrudge a nurse helping another migraine sufferer to make connections between diet and our migraines? Anyways, I was just grateful. But I remember looking at her list going, what the hell else is there to eat?
We're bringing healthy back. Them other bros don't know about the facts. All right, well, welcome everyone back to the Magic of Metabolic Health podcast, episode 26, where optimized metabolic health is our goal, and we are here to get you there.
That's right.
My name is Amelia Wood, and I am a food first personal trainer and metabolic health coach. And today we have Dr. Fume in the studio. Hey, Dr. Fume.
Hey guys.
So, Dr. Fume, what is your official title right now? I know you've maybe explored other job positions. So what's your title?
I am your doctor.
Well, I know that. I tell people.
I'm your doctor. I'm America's doctor. That's my official title moving forward. But yeah, as in I'm your homegirl doctor. I'm your doctor lady that, gets you there. I'm your metabolically sexy doctor. I'm America's doctor. I'm what you need me to be as long as it's a doctor.
Nice. And Florence, we have Florence Christophers here. Hi, Florence. Thanks for being here.
Hi, I want Dr. Fume as my doctor too.
Yes, as I can have you all as my patients. You're all my patients. All of you are my babies.
I mean, how many doctors claim to be sexy around metabolic health? I mean, that is as exciting as it gets.
Only one, apparently.
Yes, that's what makes us so unique here at the Magic of Metabolic Health. Fume and I wanted to transform the culture of health and help everyone understand that metabolic health is your key to everything: happiness, success, optimal health.
All of it.
And Florence, I don't know if you heard, we brought this up in another episode, but our intro is it's a fun parody, the song that I wrote for the podcast. It's about bringing healthy back, but we do it in a sexy way because, well, why not? We don't want metabolic health to be boring. And so let's get into it. We have so much to talk about today. I want to make sure that our guests know who Florence Christophers is. So we have a little bio. And Florence is a certified health coach, somatic experiencing practitioner, and internationally recognized expert in sugar and ultra-processed food addiction recovery. She is the founder and host of the Kick Sugar Summit, the world's first and longest running online summit focused on the emerging science linking sugar and ultra-processed foods to metabolic dysfunction, mental health challenges, and addictive eating behaviors. Drawing on more than 25 years of research, personal recovery, and coaching experience, Florence integrates metabolic health science with trauma-informed nervous system healing to help people break free from compulsive eating and restore their metabolic and mental health.
Fantastic. I love it.
That's incredible. And, Florence, we haven't, I don't think, met in person, but I watch you all over the interweb, and I know that you have a similar mission that we do here at the Magic of Metabolic Health. We're really building a village that encompasses every part of who we are, right? Ourselves, but also our listeners. We are really focused on releasing guilt and shame and the quest for perfection. And we demonstrate how self-efficacy and knowing your why are crucial tools in sustainable behavior change and optimizing your metabolic health. So we are so excited to have you here. And I would love to just jump into our first question that we always ask our guests. And it's a little personal, but we're curious, what kind of food did you eat as a child, and what were your family's values around food?
Oh, okay. So this is why I am doing what I do today, because my childhood, I ate junk all day long, all day long. When I was in my early 20s, I had blinding migraines. I was double my dress size. I had acne, rosacea, and I was suicidally depressed. And then I was in and out of doctors' offices. I did not have a sexy Dr. Fume to be able to sort of set me straight, but they kept piling pharmaceuticals and they kept saying to me, well, don't worry, kiddo, we'll find the right drugs for you. There's going to be, we'll just have to find the right medications. And I remember at one point saying to them, like, is there anything I'm eating? Like, is there something I'm doing? Why am I so sick all the time? And I remember doctors saying to me, it's nothing you're doing. Like, so much compassion. There's nothing you're doing. There's no science. There's no evidence to suggest that there's a connection between diet and disease. It's genetics. We just got to keep trying to find the right medications, right? This was 30 years ago. So at that point in time, later on, there's this really cool little story of me having a migraine, and I was in yet another doctor's expert's office trying to figure out why I had these chronic migraines. And the light was off. Sorry, I turned the light off while I was waiting in the doctor's office. And the nurse came in and she saw I was in the dark. And she's like, and she flips on the light and she goes, oh, she goes, sorry, do you have a migraine? I said, yes. She goes, I got it. She goes, I get them too. Long story short, she leaned over and she said to me, listen, honey, I figured out that there's some foods that can trigger migraines. I'm going to write them down for you. And I really recommend that you stop eating them for like a month or so just to see if it helps your migraines. It made the world of difference for me. She grabbed a little pad of paper and she was writing down on it. And she said to me, if you ever tell anybody that I gave you this list or I had this conversation with you, I could get fired. Do you understand? And she said, please don't ever tell anyone where you got this information, right? And I was just shocked. Like, why would anyone begrudge a nurse helping another migraine sufferer to make connections between diet and our migraines? Anyways, I was just grateful. But I remember looking at her list going, what the hell else is there to eat? Like, everything I ate all day long. So wheat, dairy, sugar all day long, processed meats, like it was brutal. So breakfast, pancakes, French toast, cereal. Don't forget, it was with extra sugar. If I couldn't grate the sugar at the bottom of the bowl when I was done eating the cereal, I didn't put enough sugar on. I ate Twizzlers. I had chocolate bars. I ate Kraft Dinner. I ate McDonald's. I ate pasta. I mean, I eat pizza. I ate junk all day long. And by the time I was in my 20s on my little student university budget, it was truly all I ate. So no kidding, I was sick. So I was raised on a lot of fast food, junk food. My mother didn't love being in the kitchen. I don't blame her. I really don't love being in the kitchen. There's something that gets antsy in me. I think it feels too slow and boring. Like I just want to pull a bullet through my head. So I've learned how to get in and out. I can do food faster than takeout at McDonald's, but it takes a while to be able to get that good at, getting in and out of the kitchen. But so for me, it was just all day long. It was junk. I drank pop. I ate vegetables. I had salads. My mom would serve steak and chicken and steamed green beans and salad, but there was dessert. And for the most part, it was white bread. In fact, on my father's side of the family, they were Dutch. When I'd go over to my grandparents' house for lunch, we would have, it was kind of like a bit of a buffet style on the table. There was white bread, there was butter, there were brown sugar, there were little chocolate sprinkles, there was egg, and maybe sometimes there was ham. So I could take white bread, put butter on it, put tablespoons of brown sugar on it, and then if you get it just right, you roll it up and you crunch the white bread and you roll and you chew and you bite it. That was my lunch.
My God.
No kidding. I fell apart by the time I was in my 20s, right?
Mm-hmm.
OMG. What you're talking about, like right now, like what that nurse did for you is the standard of care for migraines right now in primary practice. We tell patients to write down like when you get a migraine, the foods that you eat, the things that you think they're triggering them. It's called a headache diary. And we tell you to write that diary for like a month or two, bring it back to the clinic, and we'll see if we can figure out what's triggering them and that kind of thing. So that nurse saved your life, quite frankly.
She did. And you know what else, Dr. Fumi, is shortly after that, I mean, I found it really difficult to sort of figure out what the heck to eat. I mean, I had to completely learn and then fall in love with whole foods. But one of the things that also truly saved my life when I'm 80, it will be one of the gratitudes I am still in touch with. He wasn't a doctor. The author of The Sugar Blues, William Duffy, wrote a book called The Sugar Blues. And a girlfriend of mine had slipped me a copy of that when I was also 30 years ago, roughly the same time. And he makes a connection between sugar and all kinds of diseases, mental health, and migraines. And I remember thinking, oh my God, it's the sugar I'm eating. It was shocking. So I can look anybody dead in the eye. If you have migraines, if you suffer from migraines, here's the 3 things you need to pull out. Well, count me 5. Okay, 5. There's 3 things for sure, but there's 2 you already know. We already know caffeine is a major trigger. Most people, chocolate, coffee, good luck. You know what? For some people, they have a bit more of a capacity before it triggers a migraine, but for most of us, we're hypersensitive and it's gearing. Wine, alcohol, we know that. So you guys, that's not news. But if you can eliminate high impact carbs, even healthy whole ones, grains and fruit, and do it for a minimum of 90 days, you will experience a miracle.
High impact carbs. What do you mean by that?
So that means they're high glycemic impact. So high impact carbs of sugar, ultra processed foods, all grains, all fruits. Those are high impact carbs. So
fruit too.
Fruits, get rid of them. All grains, all fruits, 90 days. And then you can introduce and see how much you can tolerate before you trigger a migraine. But you got to get a good solid base of 0 migraines for 90 days. It's phenomenal. Some people do better on keto. Some people do just fine on lower carb, but high impact carbs are like the potatoes, the sweet potatoes, the grains and the fruits. Those are the big ones, right?
The rice.
And yeah, grains, corn, rice, corn are grains, right? Those are, the grains are wheat, barley, oats. Yes, whole grain oats. Sorry.
Quinoa?
Quinoa, you betcha.
Quinoa?
Yeah, basically anything when you slap on a CGM that causes, a pretty significant lift is going to trigger migraines. Our brains are hypersensitive to any sort of instabilities, any rises and falls, any sort of extremes. Our brains like really steady blood sugars. They like really steady lots of things.
We just talk about this all the time here on the podcast, just the significance of food and how people are conditioned to think that, too much sugar is bad, but whole grains are great because they have the fiber, and the fiber lowers, cholesterol, and the fiber keeps your blood glucose low. Now, how do we talk about it again in a different way? Because we had a clip go viral over the last couple of weeks, and it was about eating animals like as a main diet of humans. But, one of the arguments that people were arguing about in the comments was you have to have plant foods, you have to have whole grains, you have to have, these plant-based dietary patterns to be healthy. And for me, there's always nuance, right? So some people thrive on plant-based, some people don't. So there's no one final answer to the proper human diet, in my opinion. But I definitely want to hear, from both of you, what we're talking about right now specifically. Like, do either of you know why grains, like even whole grains? Why is whole grain oatmeal or brown bread or brown rice a problem for people who, in this context, right, struggle with chronic migraines?
I would say they don't have the enzymes. Some people just don't have the enzymes. Some people, for example, like remember when we had Tony Hampton and our Dr. Tony Hampton on our podcast, and he is pretty much carnivore. He doesn't even do anything green because, quite frankly, when he does anything green, he gets the bloating, he gets, uncomfortable, he doesn't do well. But when he's on a purely carnivore diet and supplements, fiber and things like that, he does excellently. He does spectacularly. Some people have the enzymes to digest certain things and some people don't. Just like, for example, there's certain things that we can eat in our diet that it literally passes undigested because we don't have the enzymes to digest it. Some people have more enzymes and some people have less enzymes. I think it's the enzymes, quite frankly.
Fascinating. And what about microbiome? Is that also a potential?
it's down to the enzymes because, well, so when I say enzymes, I'm not just talking about the proteins in your body that break down things. Your microbiome also breaks down things, and so if your microbiome has a propensity towards like is more prone to breaking down meats and things like that easier, then you'll do fine. But if your microbiome is like saturated in sugars and saturated in grains and saturated in things that your microbiome is going to change, and then suddenly you might not be able to digest the food that you used to be able to digest or think that you should digest. So your microbiome is very important, which is why here at the Magic of Metabolic Health, we talk about microbiomes. We talk about getting your gut health sexy. Also, we talk about getting everything sexy. Actually, yeah.
Yeah, that's very interesting. So I was a very late, for me, I was a very late adopter of the no grain, no fruit. It was the last thing I was willing to give up for my migraines, because giving up sugar and ultra processed foods and going lower carb, um, changed so many things. No depression, my acne cleared up, I had stage 4 rosacea, and Dr. Fume would know that. It's pretty rare. It was ocular. I was told it was incurable. It was brutal. Like, I was so sick. Anyways, I was on an antibiotic every day for 8 months. I finally decided I really got to get off this. That's a long time to be on antibiotics. And then I got off it and it came back. So I went back on it for, I can't remember, another 4 months or something like that. I mean, that's unheard of. It's unbelievable. Anyways, I was a very, very slow to admit that for whatever reason, this body of mine gets migraines on grains. Nothing else happens. I don't gain weight. I don't bloat. I feel fine. I feel better on them. I feel like I have better energy on them.
Mm-hmm.
I don't feel better off grains, but I have zero migraines off them. So I have a choice to make. And I've never really known why. Like, why? Why can't I do fruit and grains? No idea.
And that's interesting because for me, grains do make me bloated and they do bring down my energy levels, and I get some kind of post-meal fatigue, food coma. And it'll happen the next day as well, especially if I have grains at night and then I go to bed. I'll wake up kind of with a mini hangover. Just my head feels heavy. I feel like I didn't sleep well. Sometimes my blood sugar is higher, after that. But it's interesting that you share that, because I'm sure some people are thinking, well, isn't there a supplement that can help us
Maybe.
not get migraines from eating grains? Because I have to eat grains, right? People love their rice. They love their porridge. They love their, potatoes and French fries or whatever. And again, we're not here to demonize anyone or anything. But when it works, it works. And so if it doesn't, it's one of those, face the music type of experiences. It's just like, well, you can either listen to your body because your body knows best,
Mm-hmm.
or you can not listen and keep suffering. It's tough. It's tough. But
so is it possible, Dr. Fumi, to find enzymes that will allow migraine sufferers to override this reaction some of us have?
Let's talk. So we can talk about migraines because, as in, it's a great topic, especially considering that it talks about my favorite topic, magnesium. So there is a link between insulin resistance and magnesium depletion that then affects your and gives you a propensity to having migraines, and which is why one of the first things that we give to migraine havers are magnesium as prophylaxis. Take some every day, multiple times a day. And so if you're someone that you are not digesting your grains and you have an overabundance of sugar, an overabundance of insulin in your system, you are most likely to then get migraines down the line. So there is a link between all of it. So it's fantastic. So let's say that you don't want to give away your grains and you're like, I'm eating this rice for the rest of my life, come hell or high water. I'm like, okay, cool. So that's fine. Then we are going to make you more insulin sensitive. So I need you to work out. I need your body to become more sensitive to the sugar and the insulin in your system so you can absorb it. And so there are ways to get around this. We're never telling someone that here's what you can't eat. What we will say is that here's what you can do to offset that. Here's what you can do to mitigate that. We'll start giving you the magnesium to take. We'll tell you to get more insulin sensitive. We'll tell you avoid your triggers if it's not just migraine, grain, if it's everything else. So there's, we'll make a plan with you, as in there's always a plan. There's always a plan.
Awesome.
Yeah. So kind of moving forward, I would really like, so you shared, Florence, about, your aha moments. Seems like there were several and it took a while. It wasn't just one, right? And so in your 20s, you started to find healing. You started to create healing for yourself by the choices you were making. And so I'm wondering, were you in college at that point? Were you inspired to go into coaching, or was that way down, further down the line? What was going on as far as your career path in your 20s?
I don't know why I didn't think of it sooner, but I think honestly 30 years ago, when I started on this path, there was no internet. There were no 12-step programs that I was aware of. They existed in the States, but I wasn't aware of them. So I was a university student in Edmonton, Alberta, Canada. There just weren't a lot of people talking about sugar. Certainly very few, almost no one was talking about sugar addiction. So I discovered sugar addiction because when I decided in earnest, okay, I'm going to start to try and eat better to see if I can improve at that point, it was only migraines. I didn't even dare hope that my depression would lift, like other things would lift, but I would lose weight and improve my skin. That all happened, but it was the migraines that I was mostly motivated by. So I started to eat better, and then I would be fine for 3 or 4 or 5 days. I like white knuckling it really hard, detox symptoms. My hands would shake. I'd have headaches. I'd be nauseous. I got to think, oh my God, I would think I had the flu. I had no idea I was in detox. There was nobody to tell me that what you're going to go through could be really difficult for a little kid who's been eating sugar all day long. Sugar, refined carbohydrates, ultra processed foods, stimulants, chocolate, pop all day long. Anyway, so I would go, and then about 6, they'd start to feel a little bit better. And I think, oh, that was a brutal cold. I can't believe it came out of nowhere. And then I think, oh, I could have a little. Like I've been so good for 6 days, right?
That's how they get you.
And then boom, cravings, and I'd be on it for a while. And then I'd get longer stretches. And I don't even know I really don't remember the day when I finally thought, I think this stuff's addictive. But eventually I started to say to my friends, my roommates in particular, I think I'm addicted to sugar. Oh my God, I swear to God, I'm addicted to sugar. And they would laugh their heads off. And my friend Remco in particular, because I remember we were out for brunch. He was off to Europe on some trip, and we had met. And a bunch of us were there. And he slapped his thigh. And he's like, oh my God, that's so funny for you. You can't be addicted to sugar. You need that to live, right? Like they just thought it was hysterical. So I was on my own. I was the only one talking about sugar, obsessed about sugar, fighting with sugar, trying to reduce sugar, being in the grip of an addiction with sugar. But I did not let up because I knew when I had those stretches, I started to feel better. And there were less migraines. Like I knew I was able to white knuckle my way through enough time that my body had the lived experience of I feel better, right? So my body didn't forget that. I didn't forget that. So I kept at it. And eventually I got better and better and better and better over years and years. I figured out how to put together some chicken breasts and some salad and some green beans. Thank you very much. And really enjoy the meal. I didn't need desserts. I dropped pop. I never went back. There's lots of foods that I didn't miss, but sugar was a persistent thing I would go back to. And that's why I eventually went into trauma training, because I realized that I didn't always just go back to sugar because the substances, it's an opiate. It plugs into our receptor sites. It's a feel good. It definitely impacts our feel good neurotransmitters. It is an addictive substance for sure, but that's not always the reason I go back. I have long stretches, years sometimes, free. It wasn't cravings. It was low energy. It was certain when I was reaching the edge of my capacity to stay present to some kind of stress in my life. And I felt like I needed quick, fast energy to be able to get back into the flight, fright, trauma state, mobilized state. And sugar was the best. And my body remembered, I need that to survive, to outrun this tiger. You better the chicken breast, not going to do it, right? So it unfolded over decades for me, my understanding, my progress. And then 14 years into my journey, so I'm now about 35. I opened up my local newspaper. So I had been mostly sugar, flour-free, whole food woman, and I was no concept of wanting to do this as a coach. There were no coaches. It wasn't even on my radar. I didn't even know that was a career or a profession. I was actually a university professor, and I worked for nonprofit organizations, and I had a variety of just different interesting kind of jobs. But sorry, I just lost my thread. Just a sec. I'm 34. I have pregnant. I had a nearly perfect whole food pregnancy. I had one cheese sandwich and I had some pumpkin pie at Thanksgiving. But in a
You
10-month
remember.
Doing great.
I was doing great. I was so determined because I thought I do not want sugar in my body. I mean, I didn't want it in my body for me, but I didn't want it while I was pregnant, especially like some mothers can give up cigarettes when they're pregnant, right? That was me. I was like on it. And one day when I was really hungry and then I ate some cheese sandwich, I was so sick. And then second, I had some pumpkin pie. And again, I was sick. Other than that, my pregnancy was fantastic. Like I felt fantastic. I ran till I was 8.5 months pregnant. I worked till I was 9 months pregnant. People didn't even know I have a long torso. People didn't even know I was pregnant. I was fit. I was healthy. Even those two exceptions that I had made in the context of 10 months, right? Horrible. Fully remember the impact they had on my body. I digress. Sky is born, and I'm equally dedicated to not dripping sucrose through my breast milk into my little baby girl. I do not want my little baby girl to be an addict, a sugar addict either. So I'm good for the whole first year. And then about 1.5 years in, I'm coming off of mat leave, and I've been hired to be a professor at the University of Lethbridge. And I started staying up later, and I'm still nursing Sky, and I just got tired, and I went back to the sugar, and I relapsed to keep me going. And I remember picking up Sky from daycare and nursing her, knowing I'd just eaten white chocolate chip macadamia cookies, I remember well, and thinking, I don't want this. I really don't want this. Like, what the hell's wrong with me? Come on. Like, just grow up. Florence,
what you described is essentially addiction. As in the flu-like symptoms and the shakes and everything, you might as well have just taken yourself off of heroin. Like you might as well have taken yourself off of crack, because when you're that addicted and your insulin is that high and it's raging through your body and your cortisol is up and you're just like jacked up on it, and if you don't get more sugar, you could crash. It's literally survival at this point. And so you did amazingly. If no one has told you already, you did great, sweetie.
Thank you, Dr. Fume. I was fighting my way forward for sure, and I was doing well. And then I relapsed. And once you have a little in your bloodstream, it's tricky. But I remember looking down, thinking, "Come on, Florence, you do not want to be dripping sucrose into this little baby. She's innocent. She's perfect. She's beautiful. Like, just stop. You can go mess up your body, but don't you mess up hers, right?" So I remember sort of dropping to my knees. I've told this story before, but I had this closet that was open. There was no doors on it in the front of my house. And I kind of dropped to my knees after I nursed Sky. I can't remember what she was doing at this point, but I dropped to my knees and I was just kind of facing my closet. So it was like I was praying to my shoes, because at that point I was an agnostic. I didn't know what I believed. I was just kind of like, I don't know. I wasn't a firm believer at all. I didn't have a higher power then, but I was like praying, saying, "Please, if anything can hear me, please help me. Do not want me to die." All right. And I was so desperate. I was like, why is it so hard? Anyways, 2 days later, I opened up my newspaper and there was an ad, like, something about, are you addicted to sugar? Do you compulsively overeat, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, what? I have never in 14 years met anyone ever even talks about this. I was all on my own in these small little Canadian cities. Anyways, fast forward, I called them, joined my first 12-step food addiction recovery program. And then I got 2 years of straight back-to-back weighing and measuring the pristine, clean, meal plan of a 12-step program. And it was life-changing. It was phenomenal. I loved it in almost every way except for one. In my heart of hearts, I didn't want to have to be going to 3 meetings a week for the rest of my life. I didn't want to feel like as lovely as the meetings were and the people that were in it were, and it was international. I made people all over the world. It was really exciting to find, we'd squeal like, oh my God, it's not just me, right? All these years, decades, all by myself, no one talking about it. I Everyone laughing at me thinking, oh, that's so stupid. You can't be addicted to sugar, Florence. Anyways, it was delightful and I didn't want it. I wanted to somehow, is there some way to be like one and done with this? Why can't people give up alcohol and give up cigarettes and not go to 3 meetings a week for the rest of their lives, right?
They
Like
do. They
they
do.
do.
They still go to meetings. They
Still
have to
do.
come in. I mean, they, as in a lot of my patients that have done the 12 step, whether they got rid of, alcohol or they got rid of drugs, they still have to check in with the mentor and drop into a meeting. And it doesn't have to be 3 meetings a week, but they still pop in for once a month and be like, you know what? I'm starting to feel cravings. What do I do? How do I correct this course? I'm going to go back to the meetings until I'm solid again. And you go back into the world. It's just like anything. It takes, if you don't, it's just like if we're doing Pavlovian conditioning here. Anything that doesn't have reinforcement will be exterminated. The action that you do in order to keep yourselves from having a sugar addiction, you have to constantly reinforce them and say, oh yeah, that's right. I just can't do this anymore. I still need to check myself. Yeah, it's just like anything in life. It's with shopping, it's with drugs, it's with traveling, as in it's with anything, as in anything requires reinforcement. And God, and you know what? Whatever to it,
Yeah.
as in the reinforcement sucks. 3 meetings a week suck, but as in once a month, once a year.
Not an option. Not an option.
Really?
No. So in my community, there was a Wednesday night, there was a Friday night, and a Saturday, if I'm not mistaken. Maybe Wednesday, Thursday, Saturday, and they were mandatory. And not only that, but I had said my daughter has a little thing at her kindergarten on Wednesday night. I'm not going to be able to make it. And they're like, that doesn't work. It doesn't work like that. You have to miss your daughter's thing. So eventually I had lost so much. I got quite skinny because I was nursing on this program that didn't probably have enough food for me. So I was really underweight. I was 112 pounds at 5'7". And I was complaining to my sponsor, I'm really underweight. And she's like, oh, that's the meal plan. That's just your addict talking. And anyways, so at some point she went and talked to her sponsor. My sponsor came back to me and said, we're going to ask you to stop nursing your baby. And I started crying, like bawling. I'm like, really? I'm leaving, right? She started crying. So this is not AA, Dr. Fume. 12-step food addiction programs are not the same as AA. Some of them are and some of them are not. And the one I was in was brilliant because it was so, it was really strict. One bite, like if I lick my finger while cutting a strawberry, that's a break. I'm back to day one. Like I will curl your hair with the stories. Yeah, like there is a lot of abuse and power like abuse that happens in programs where women are desperate to lose weight. Desperate. And
flabbergasted.
Oh, Dr. Fume.
No way.
So I have to ask then, how do you distinguish, or how did they distinguish between a food or sugar addiction versus like disordered eating? Because traditionally,
didn't matter. Everyone was on the same meal plan. It didn't matter.
It didn't matter. So it was just this blanket, like everybody does this no matter who you are.
Yes.
Because I've heard you and lots of other people talk about the traditionally in disordered eating therapy, the general principle or teaching is, don't restrict any food because you have disordered eating. But what they're not paying attention to is the trigger foods that get people back into, the addiction. And so abstinence, I understand the power of that. Mm-hmm. And so it's interesting that your program was saying like one lick of a strawberry and you're back to ground zero. I don't know, man. Like, tell us how you got through that. And then I want to hear about how you coach people, because there's so many layers of this condition, right?
There truly is. Yeah. So the meal plan was protein, veggies, protein, 4 to 5 ounces for women, 6 for men. It was 6 ounces of salad, 6 ounces of cooked vegetables, a healthy fat. And at breakfast and dinner, we had a complex carb. So fruits for breakfast, let's say, and rice for dinner. It was very generous, very balanced. It was all whole foods. Everything was weighed and measured. So it was very precise. There was no eyeballing how many strawberries you got. It was 6 ounces. And if 3/4 of the strawberry brought you to 6 ounces, that little tip had to go in the garbage or for the next meal or whatever. You know what I'm saying? It was precise. There was no wiggle room. Now they have changed since then. This was, remember, like 25 years ago for me, 20 plus years ago for me. And they have meal plans where they're willing to work with dietitians and doctors. But it wasn't that way when I was in the program. It was absolutely one size fits all. Suck it up. You have no say. We're not interested. This is the meal plan. Take it or leave it. So I left it. And then I did fine. And ever since then, I've more or less been fine. It's not like I haven't relapsed. I have. But each and every one of those times, I was very clear, this isn't about addiction anymore. This isn't about a substance that's in my bloodstream where I have cravings and I'm in withdrawal detox symptoms and I need more to feel good. That wasn't the case. This was me not knowing how to manage a dysregulated nervous system. And when it reached a certain threshold of I don't know how to be present with what's coming up in my body, what's happening in my life, I turned back to the reliable opiate effects of sugar and the energy. Like for me, it's almost always I need that energy to move into this flight response. So that's what got me into the trauma work. That's what got me deeply, deeply grateful that I was the kind of person that would do long stretches just fine. And then I'd relapse and go, I'm never going to get this. Well, thank God I didn't. Because as long as I was making it all about the food and the dopamine and the neurotransmitters, and the addiction itself, I was missing the fact that there's this whole other layer of what's happening with my nervous system. And me not having had to really develop great skills at learning how to feel feelings and process them, I could just eat and move through them, shift them biochemically. I distract myself, avoid them. I didn't have good emotional processing skills. So that's what the trauma recovery work did for me, is to teach me how to drop into the body. What's there? What am I feeling? Say hello to it, be with it, process it, stay with it long enough that it can start to process, as opposed to the fear and the resistance and the rejection and the resentment of emotions. So it was a whole journey of recognizing that it's all part of the food journey, recovery journey, not for everyone. Some people I watch them come into the program. They're like, oh, it's the food I'm eating, this processed foods. They start eating whole foods, they lose weight, they reverse our diabetes, they're happier, they're good. They didn't have more work to do. They didn't have backgrounds of trauma and just chronically dysregulated nervous systems. They didn't need other layers and more work than what the 12-step was offering. For many people, it's enough. It's enough, but it wasn't for me.
Mm-hmm. Do you ever talk about mirror neurons and how our environment, kind of regardless of the trauma, our environment has so much power and influence over our choices? And because Joan Ifland is someone that I'm quite close to, and she's been on the podcast. And I first learned about mirror neurons in food addiction specifically because of her. And she just blew my mind. Because if you think about it, everywhere we go to work, we go to school, we go to birthday parties, we go to the grocery store, we drive down the street, we're being given signals, and we're involuntarily exposed to advertisements, food symbols, things that are going to turn on the mirror neurons and say, oh, well, everybody else at this party is eating some cake. Well, that's normal because it's safe, right? And if you go back into our ancestry, we ate foods that other people ate because they weren't dying. They were surviving. So there's something deeply ingrained in our subconscious, and you could call it epigenetics, you could call it a lot of different things. Do you address specifically like mirror neurons and how do you talk about that in your program? Because I'm really curious.
Yeah, absolutely. So it definitely does. So I will say fundamentally, first, foremost, and fundamentally is that when you're off it long enough and your body begins to have the lived experience of feeling genuinely so much better off the ultra processed foods, then your body becomes your ally. Until those points, your body remembers the pleasure, the comfort, the energy, the stimulation, and the sedation. So the foods that we choose to eat are either giving us energy, like sugar, caffeine, chocolate, or they're sedating us. In other words, what they're doing is they're raising adrenaline and cortisol, or they're mopping it up. They're helping the body to try and mop it up. So the foods that tend to mop up adrenaline are starches, fat, and salt. So think potato chips, think pizza, think grilled cheese sandwiches, right? Ice cream, even to some extent, right? Because the fat and the carbs and the salt, it can help absorb, it can help the body manage too high adrenaline. So we're either looking, if it was in the world of drugs, some people gravitate towards cocaine uppers and some people gravitate towards downers, right? So the uppers are cocaine and the downers is heroin, right? Math would be an upper. I think what's that?
Alcohol,
right? So and for us with food, we can pull both those levers, we can combine them. We can call what Julia Ross calls a spitball, which is where you combine cocaine and heroin together. She goes, can you imagine? Oh my God. I don't have that kind of nervous system. That would blow the top off my...
much about this. This is fantastic. Oh, you have 35 years in the business. So you're a wealth of knowledge, can I just say?
So the spitball effect we can do that with food too. We can do the uppers and we can do the sort of stimulating ones that push up adrenaline, and the ones that try and mop up adrenaline, give us comfort at the same time. So that would be something like Black Forest cake. It's the ultimate spitball. You've got chocolate, you've got fruit, you've got the starchy flours, you've got the dairy, which helps mop up adrenaline. I don't remember what else. Anyways, that's all. Like, got the 4 major things, right? So anyways, I digress. So your question was mirror neurons. So if you begin to have these genuine experiences of feeling better off it, eventually, even in a candy store, in your favorite cookie store, it doesn't matter. They just don't call to you anymore. No one could pay you to eat it. They don't look like food. You are free. Something is shifted. Now, when I get stressed, they might seem appealing, but that is not a mirror neuron thing. In the beginning, mirror neurons are huge. It's the 2 main reasons why people relapse: social events and stress. They feel left out. They have FOMO. They feel deprived. Their bodies are saying, everyone else is eating it. Why can't I eat it, right? It's a deep, painful trigger. So you just have to play smart games with yourself. One of the things I imagine doing, I don't know if this helps people, but when I first met my husband 20 plus years ago, I said to him, I'm a food addict. I can't have it in my house. I don't want it in my house. I don't want to feed it to our daughter. I don't want it. I'm hoping you'll respect that. Never once has he disrespected it. So sometimes women are in families where their kids are teenagers and their husband's like not on board. So that's where I kind of say to them, well, you gotta pull your mom hat. Like, this is how it has to be. If I see it, it's in the garbage. Got it? Hide it well. If I see it, it's in the garbage. I don't want that I love you too much to put that in your body. I always had my daughter go to grocery stores and I say to her, any fruit and vegetable you want, kiddo, you just run around with your little basket and whatever just speaks to your little heart. And she picked all the colors and the wacky fruits. I'd be like, oh my God, I've never eaten this before. What is it? Anyways, right? So you get them excited about the colors and the flavors that's in the produce department. So that's for younger kids. But anyways, eventually you just have to call the shots.
That's for older kids too. That's what I say to my patients, that when I'm telling someone that you have to get off this type of high carb diet, or you need to come down on your the carbs that you're taking, I never say, here's all the things that you can't eat. I'm saying, look at all the things you can eat now. Look at all this meat you can eat. Look at all these veggies that you can eat. And there's no limit of all this stuff that you can't eat. But I need you to kind of like eat so much more of this, and that by the time that you would have time to even come back to the carbs to eat, guess what? You're already full. Yeah. Otherwise, so because human beings, the way that our brains work, we think of all the things that we can't do. And they said, don't go down that way, and don't touch that, and don't date that person. We never think of, look at all the other things that I get to do and get to be and get to see. And as in, we never think that way because of the way that our brains are negatively, wired. I love the fact that, offering people choice, colorful choices, interesting choices, tasty choices will often do the work of reinforcing a low carb keto diet, Yes, 100%.
Really, truly, you will fall in love with whole foods. If I can do it, anybody can do it. Back to neurons. Really nice segue, Dr. Fume, because that whole idea of everyone else is eating it, why can't I eat it? I would pause and I think, if I went around this party tonight, I'm thinking of this family event I had where there was probably 30 people and they were all enjoying all the food and the drinks and having fun and being loud and boisterous and having a nice time. And I was all miserable and uptight and obsessed about food and what was I going to eat? And I remember thinking, if I walked around that party and for each person with a little clipboard and asked them, so tell me, are you on any medications? Are you going to wake up feeling really bad tomorrow? Will you have a headache or a migraine? It just reminded me that I have this story that everybody's happy eating these foods, that they're well, that they're not. So I can have I would say to myself all the time, I'm not free until I fully, truly have the permission of choice. I truly have choice. I can choose to eat that or not. Until I have genuine choice, I don't feel free. Now, there's some people who disagree with that. They say that's crazy. I don't have the choice. I can't. I think, well, I couldn't get free inside till I truly gave myself permission over. You can eat that, Florence. You might get a migraine. Go ahead. You can choose to suffer, but I want you to be clear that when you pick that up and eat it and trigger a migraine, you are choosing suffering. Let's just be clear. When those people choose to eat that way, they're choosing to be on SSRIs. How many medications are on high blood pressure, overweight, depressed, they're not happy either. It's a lie. Very few people are getting away with eating ultra processed foods, especially in the amounts that we eat. I mean, rare exceptions, who cares, right? I'm talking about day in and day out. Almost nobody gets away with it. It's a big fat lie. You're not missing out on anything. Maybe a little bit of pleasure, but unless you're prepared to be on those same medications and to wake up with migraines, kiddo, it's a big fat lie that you're missing out on anything. So go ahead, choose. What do you want to pick, right? It just, and so many times I would go days, if not weeks, choosing suffering. I would choose it. I know I'm going to suffer and I'm choosing the suffering.
So I think the difference between your story and everybody else's story is that you had almost no buffer. Your buffer was so small that by the time that you got into the sugar addiction and things like that, you were immediately having symptoms and that kind of thing. Most people have their 20s and 30s as a multi-longitudinal buffer before they start having insulin resistance and heart disease and predisposition to Alzheimer's and all these other things that comes with insulin resistance. Most people have years. And then as the diet in the United States has gotten worse and the food has gotten worse and more processed, now that buffer is becoming smaller and smaller for people. In your time, you had no buffer. So you needed to find a solution immediately. That is the only thing that is helping people right now because that buffer is so long from people. But now that that buffer is becoming smaller and smaller, that's why we're having this explosion of metabolic health topics and people wondering, hey, why is my health so bad for someone that's 40 or 30 or even in their 20s? Because this was used to happen to people in their 50s. And so that's what's shining the light on this, on health topics, things like that. So you just you got the short straw here with the with the no buffer, but I definitely think that now that people are more cognizant that this is happening and much more sooner, you'd be surprised how many people are deciding to say, I don't want to suffer. I don't want to suffer. You'd be surprised. And those are the patients that find me. Those are the patients that find me anywhere. They'll find me on IG. They'll find me on my website. They'll find me in the hospital. They'll be like, hey, I heard that you work with patients that are insulin resistant or are trying to lose weight or have PCOS or all the things that come with insulin resistance. I'm like, yeah, as in I'm super into it. Why? Am I your doctor? That's how I introduce myself. Am I your doctor now? They're like, yeah, apparently you are.
Oh, thank God there's doctors like you, Dr. Fume. I don't know. Can you only work in New York or can I refer clients?
No, I'm licensed in all states. I have the inter-medical licensing compact, and I'm a locums doctor, so I often travel to all the states, and I also travel very much internationally. I've been to lots of international conferences and things like that. I work primarily, Switzerland, Nigeria, Abu Dhabi. So when I say America's doctor, I'm really saying I'm the world's doctor.
Okay, love it. Doctor. You need to be. We need to clone you by 10,000.
First doctor on the Mars colony. Let's go for the ambition. Let's go up there. Let's go high, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. Do you work with, sorry, I hope it's okay for me to ask questions now. Do you work with low dose, microdose amounts of GLP-1s to help people who are struggling with food addiction and cravings?
So this is very interesting that you say this because I do. And it's a very niche topic that you're talking about. The problem with it is that if you kill your craving for sugar, you may also kill your craving for anything. So you will find that people who do take GLP-1s, especially in maybe higher doses,
Yeah,
they
higher
end
dose.
up
Yeah.
having anhedonia. They actually have no craving for anything. They don't
Mhm.
crave food. They don't crave sex. They don't crave belonging. So we're walking on a very tight line here now because things are changing right now because of the GLP-1s being introduced in society, and we haven't had it in our system long enough to really know the long-term side effects of these drugs. And that's why every day you go online and you're like, oh, have you been taking GLP-1s? You've been exposed to osteoporosis. It does cause osteoporosis in some people if you don't fortify with vitamin C, magnesium, strength training. Oh, you've
Protein.
been exposed to thyroid cancer. Can cause thyroid cancer in people who have a familial, predisposition to thyroid cancer. So it could cause any of these things, but we don't know it yet because it's only been out like what 5 years that we've been using it as a weight loss drug. Maybe 10 years as for
20 for diabetes, but yeah, more
yeah, yeah,
recently for,
20, we've been
yeah,
using it's exploded in the last
exploded in 5. Yeah.
in 5. And so now we're seeing, okay, all these people are on it. We should be tracking this and I think, and we are tracking this in the medical industry,
Yeah.
but it's tough because it's a beauty drug now. And nobody wants to let go of this beauty drug that can reverse your obesity, reverse your diabetes, reverse, your insulin resistance. Nobody wants to get rid of this. So we'll see. We'll see how it goes. But
Yeah,
with
but
the microdosing, yes, I think it's important. And I think it's
that's what I,
time to
that's
like,
where that's where I'm really, I'm not on it. I'm very, very sensitive. I can do almost no medications without trouble, but I'm not opposed to it. I was very much like, what? Come on. This is just another bypass of the lifestyle change we all need to be making. But I've changed my mind because
do
I've
it,
had clients.
do it. I'm interested in you doing it. Do not just the smallest dose, do the
It's not
high.
even an option. I couldn't even get it in Canada.
Really?
No,
That's
no
not
one
true.
would prescribe.
But I think what you're saying, Florence, is that you've changed your mind for other people.
I've
That
changed
you,
my mind because I've had clients come to me to say, I am microdosing this. I had a psychiatrist say, hey, listen, like this is early. This is early days of this
It's
drug, but
very
I am
good.
seeing other patients have cravings for food and struggles with food get really quiet on a very micro low doses. And I'm not looking to increase this. You're not obese. Like some of my clients are not particularly overweight, maybe 20, 30 pounds, nothing that wouldn't fall off if they gave up the sugar anyways. So I've now got clients that I'm working with and I'm like,
Can I,
it took me 14 years of struggle to get where you are in 2 weeks.
I can I tell you what
And
they
I'm
do?
seeing joint pain go away. And there's a doctor out of Seattle that did an interview on Diary of a CEO. Have you guys seen it?
Oh, yeah, 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 of
Yeah,
course.
yeah. And
which
she's talking
doctor?
about, darn if I can remember her name. I really should memorize it so I could share it. But if you go look up Diary of a CEO, microdosing GLP-1s, she's a
Mhm.
doctor. She went on it and she's showing that on very low doses, it can be anti-inflammatory.
Yes.
Yeah, so I don't know what to say. I mean, I get it's early days, but I just want to say that for someone who's really frickin' struggling, maybe you could work with someone like Dr. Fume who could play with microdoses.
Microdoses of this, and then they're also helping infertility. As in, think about it, of course, because this drug is reversing insulin resistance, as in with people who with PCOS who are having difficulties with or people who are overweight who can't overcome in order for them to have a normal menstrual cycle. When you microdose on this, as in it's helped with the fertility a lot. I remember watching a podcast about this myself. I've had several nurses that I've worked with that have been on it on a microdose who have improved their chances and are now presently pregnant. Present. So it's very interesting, this microdose thing. And like I said, it comes in a pen, but That's because it comes in a pen. In the hospital, we could just, if you're a nurse, you could just grab a vial and, and take the dose that you want. So it's not,
Yes,
there's so many, there's ways to get around these restrictions, but we have to be careful.
we do. Absolutely. I agree.
Yeah.
This is not, it's not the shortcut. So my clients that are doing it, I'm only working with about 3 right now. I really am really interested and fascinated by their journey. But they've said I've had no cravings, so much so that the other day when my family they went skiing and they had chocolate pancakes for breakfast. Can you imagine? Anyways, and she's like, oh, I could take it or leave it. So maybe I could have some. And I was like, whoa, stop. You've been working with me for months to get free from it. You are free. Why the heck would you go back? You are the kind of woman that has been saying for years, I would love to have a life partner and a lover and a best friend. And you find him and it's so great. And then in your coaching session with me, you're like, oh no, maybe I should go and be single again. Like, what? What? Are you stupid?
Can I tell you that those are my favorite patients? They drive you to your wits' end. You will literally be losing it in the hospital. You'll be like, I cannot believe I cannot believe. I've had a patient that he will come into the hospital every month in diabetic ketoacidosis.
Oh.
And not from being type 1, from being type 2, which is insane. I got him back. I got his A1C from like 14 to like 8.7. I'm talking work with this guy. And he came back and I went to the cafe one day and I saw him like eating was it like an apple pie or something? And I was like, I cannot believe you right now. Like, I've been literally twisting and turning myself at night, just thinking, will I see him in a hospital again in acidosis? I wonder if his sugars are okay. And you're out here eating a pie in my cafeteria. I was like, I'm taking you right back. I'm taking you right back upstairs. But yeah, those patients, it's human nature. It's human nature to just have a craving. It'll be like, you just think to yourself, one bite won't kill me. Is it just a one time? It's just it's something else.
It really, how many hundreds of times have I did this exact same thing to me? But when I described it to her like that, she's like, you're right. I wanted this. I'm free. It wasn't a craving. It was just that, like, I probably could. I probably could. It wouldn't be a big deal. My cravings are less. My food knows. So it was like she felt like she had a pass. So my message to people who are on GLP-1s, if you're microdosing or low dosing, for support in the early days of trying to get unhooked from these ultra processed foods, which for some of us are very addictive, sugar in particular. Please know that it is not a pass to continue to eat them. I don't care if you can just have a little and be fine. I don't care if you're not gaining weight or you're losing. It's not the point. These are not foods. They do not belong in your body. And if you don't have cravings for them and your food chatter is down or gone, you're free. Hang on to it. Like with everything you've got, go eat your whole foods and be done with it. Move on. Do not let it be like this pass to go and be carb, moderate, because no.
Well, we all know about moderation and how that never works out.
Unless you're on a GLP-1. Unless they're on a GLP-1 and they feel like they can moderate now. And I'm like, still, if you don't, like, why moderate if you can be free, if you can be a whole food man or a whole food woman and you can protect your body from the harms of these foods? Oh, sail off into the sunset, because it isn't just that we're leaving behind the pattern of struggle and suffering. Those of us who have addictions have patterns, unconscious patterns around struggle and suffering. Food, for me, is one of the ways that I perpetuated that pattern. So that little guy, that buddy that I want to wrap my arms around and go give him a kiss and say, come, let's go to Dr. Fume's office together. Just leave the pie. He is not eating just because it's addictive. He is eating because his nervous system doesn't know how to cope in the world. He needs trauma recovery work, right?
Apple pie is a comfort food. I
It's
don't
just,
even blame him. He's having he had a day. Like you don't know what kind of day this person had. He probably was like had a rough day at work, as in something's going on with the family, as in as in, you never know, and then you just go back to your comfort food. This is the way that the brain is geared. Like you seek the things that's going to make you feel better, even when you know that you're probably not the best things for you. So it's definitely understandable, human to human, but doctor to patient. Oh my
yeah.
God.
Coach to patient. Yeah, it's a different. So take our passion. Once you've got it, hang on to it. Do not let it go. It could be months, it could be years before you've got that moment of readiness again when you believe that everything pivots, in my opinion, from my coaching years of practice, which back to your comment, Amelia, I didn't think about being a coach till 12 years ago. It never even occurred to me. But I did the summit and then I started coaching because I was so freaking passionate that people were starting to talk about sugar, but they weren't talking about sugar addiction. I thought, oh my God, how can we start talking about sugar without talking about sugar addiction? That's cruel. It's like, oh, just eat less or just give it up. Like it's easy. Anyways, I digress. The thing is, oh my gosh, I just lost my thread there. Sorry. What was I saying?
You said summit. I don't know if you were going to talk about the summit.
No, it was before that. It was before coach. Oh, and coach to client is that I don't know, just I don't know what I was going to say. Something about that once you've got it, that moment of readiness, I know what it pivots on. 100%, in my opinion, pivots on whether or not you truly believe. It's all mentally. If you truly believe your life will be better without sugar and ultra processed foods. If you truly believe that, you will do it. If you are not doing it, it's because there's a part of you that's thinking, no, I'm better off without it. I have more energy or more comfort, or I can manage my life better, or I can survive better, I can be more productive better, whatever it is. I feel better, whatever it is. But if you get to the point where you genuinely in your bones believe that your life will be better off those foods, then it's just going through the detox, putting in the effort of learning some new recipes, figuring out with your CGM what foods you can tolerate that don't spike you into above 140. That's not US numbers. I think yours is 6. Spikes you above 8 or whatever it is, right? Whatever your doctor says your range is. Mine's always pretty tight. I like them to be really tight because they will feel better. And then they'll come back and go, damn, thank you. That was helpful, right? But if they're swinging all over, they still have cravings and crashes, and they're not going to, feel good on the path, and they need to feel good on the path to sustain it.
And feeling good. Yeah. We talk about feeling good in our health journey and how challenging it is for people to sometimes understand that optimal health is not meant to be a miserable state, right? It's not about torturing yourself and saying, oh, I ironically, I can't have this or I can't have that. It's very layered, right? Because I use the celery and salad sort of example a lot. I have people I've worked with who've had chronic issues with weight their whole life. And someone said to me once, well, I guess I can just eat celery and salad for the rest of my life because I can't eat this and I can't eat that. And when I eat that, I get sick, or my doctor says I shouldn't have this. So I no longer enjoy food. I have to train myself to use it as a survival mechanism and nothing more. And, I get part of that, but at the same time, as a coach and as a personal trainer, I'm not going to give you ideas for food or ideas to work out at the gym that you dread, right? If I'm giving you advice or tips on how to improve your life, but you hate it, then what am I doing?
Yeah.
And what are we saying to each other then? That health is like a depressed state of being, yet I look ripped, or my blood markers are great, yet I am miserable as a person, So I would love to hear, Florence, you have mentioned how energy work has become a big part in your life and maybe your personal, professional as well, because I think the energy that we bring to what we're doing is so important. Our why, right? We talk about our ride or die why here on the Magic of Metabolic Health. What is going to help you keep grounded when the tough times get tough. And energy, how we approach something, our perspective, how we respond. You're talking about our nervous systems. I'm going to stop talking. I just want you to talk about this energy work, because I don't actually know what you do in relationship to this, but you mentioned it earlier before we started.
Sure. I love that question. And it actually kind of goes back to that whole comment I was making about struggle and suffering. Many of us come out of backgrounds of trauma or overwhelm, and we've learned how to survive in struggle and suffering. We are constantly flowing the hormones of stress. We know how to feel good on adrenaline. Well, not good. Well, sort of. We know how to stay in stress states continuously, and we feel very uncomfortable when we drop into states of calm, where we have these moments where we feel like all is well, I am safe. Those don't feel like safe moments because your body is in a hypervigilant state in response to trauma. Now, most of us, I would say, the majority, 50, 60% of us are coming out of childhoods where we fall somewhere on the trauma spectrum, which means what is trauma? Trauma is a physiological state of overwhelm. It's not about the event. It's not tragic, horrible, dark, shitty things that can happen to humans. Those are things that often overwhelm our body and create the freeze response or the trauma response. But trauma is not about what happened. It's how your body responds to what's happening. It's a physiological state of collapse, of shutdown, of freeze. Now, when a threat's coming at us, we can either fight or flight. And if we don't believe that we can outrun it or we can overcome it, the body, if it goes on for too much, for too long, is going to go into play. It's going to play possum. It's going to freeze. It wants you to drop and stop and just play dead. It shuts down the digestive tract, elimination, a lot of constipation is like that. It's like the GLP-1 effect on extreme, right? Everything shuts down, your immune system, your moods, your brain chemistry tanks. It's a state of hopelessness, helplessness, despair, depression. That's what the freeze response is. So the word freeze response, the word trauma, and the word overwhelm, same. That's what it is. So when you understand that you've been coming out of backgrounds where your body has learned to respond to threats with the freeze response, those are the states when you are highly likely to say, get the F-its, right? I'm just going to go eat the sugar. I'm going to go drink. I'm going to go do my drugs, because you've got nothing to work with. You are in a state of collapse. Energy work. So a dysregulated nervous system or a traumatized nervous system is a system that's used to running in fight or flight, overdoing, overstressing, running high levels of adrenaline and cortisol until it goes on for too much for too long. And then it collapses and they go into the state where they feel like they can hardly do anything. And then, eventually their thoughts or their behaviors create enough stress in the body again that it kicks back into the fight or flight state, high adrenaline state, and it goes until it collapses. And then you're down there long enough until your body can get you stressed enough that you can get back into gear. And a lot of people just go from that state of fight, flight, freeze, right? And fawn's in there, but that's another nuance. Fawn is in the freeze response spectrum. So suffering and struggle can be just a way of life. It's the way our nervous system's wired up. It's how we learn to respond to life as everything is a threat. We don't feel safe. So when you work with energy work, you work first, foremost, and fundamentally with understanding the nervous system. What state are you in? Is it chronic? How do you feel when you drop into states of peace and calm? When you work with your breath and I guide you into your body and you notice what sensations are there, what's happening. And from there, you can begin to you work with your mind to set intentions, create affirmations, and put your attention there, and you can start to create state shifts. Real recovery is not abstinence. It's a state shift. You're moving out of these traumatized, chronically dysregulated nervous systems into nervous systems where you spend most of your days, most of your time in the parasympathetic, the paradise of the parasympathetic, right? Where you're in a regulated nervous system. And it can take years to get there. And energy work is it's a powerful emerging medicine, probably one of the most powerful medicines on the planet right now. And if y'all have not seen it's a TV series on Apple, write it down. Got it? Pen? I haven't said this yet. This is the one thing I want you to write down. It's called The Healer. It's on Apple. It cost me $9 or $6, something like that. It's on Apple TV. You have to pay for it. You have to rent it. And it's with a guy named Charlie Goldsmith, who is an energy healer out of Australia. And cute little claim to fame, he is the nephew of the woman who played the lead in Grease, Olivia Newton-John.
Wow.
Yeah, but he has the gift. He has the gift, and and he's doing some really cool stuff around energy matter. He's creating an app that will allow people all over the world to tune in and ask for energy healing medicine. But he will show, you will see through 6 series how energy medicine works. But basically, it's high vibrational frequencies. All disease is a state of low voltage. All disease is at a state of low energy, right? And so negative thoughts, limiting beliefs, poor nutrition that leads to poor metabolic health, poor mitochondria functioning. Low metabolic functioning is a low energy state. So you're going to have corresponding thoughts and beliefs that they all kind of sort of match and mirror each other. So when you can have an energy that comes out to help lift the voltage, the frequency, the vibration of the body, that can create a new state, and that can sort of support the body in doing the healing that it knows to do. So energy medicine is so exciting. So one of the nerdy ways that I'm using it in my practice, I wonder if I have something here to show you. I don't. I'm afraid to tell you guys in case you think I'm that shit, but
this is amazing, actually, because I love what you're saying. It as in I believe in it, as a person who is very much into solfeggio frequencies, who has ordered her own Rife machine. As in, this is literally like people don't even know about this. You are like, oh, you're like, even everything you said today is just absolutely thrilling. You're talking about microdosing GLPs. You're talking about knowing about, this 30 years before it even happened. You're talking about energy. You are, quite frankly, on the cusp of everything so cool right now. What in the world? Is this our best guest yet, Amelia, or what?
It's been pretty amazing.
We've had heart surgeons, we've had authors, and I think you are, quite frankly, my favorite guest here at the Magic Metabolic Health. And no one should be jealous, but she is. She just is. I'm sorry.
thank you, Dr. Fume. Wow, what a compliment. Because I feel the same about you. You're so cutting edge as a doctor. So I use tuning forks, and I'm teaching my clients how to do it. So I do meditation, and I do it law of attraction style, where it's beautiful to drop into a meditative state and to sort of lose sense of your body and to get into these states that are sort of transcendent. It's beautiful. That's a wonderful way of using meditation. But there's another way of using meditation, and that's where you set your intentions and you're clear and mind over matter, right? It's very, very, very clear. That's how the universe works, that we are shaping and co-creating our lives. And we can do that with respect to our health as well, and all things in our lives, but health included. But with tuning forks, I'm getting really, really incredible results with people learning to use them to help create coherence in our energy centers, chakras, some people call them. That's probably the original word. So there's lots of fun, cool, interesting ways of playing with energy in our lives, and that's one of them through tuning forks.
Fume, I have to ask you, what did you say the machine is?
Rife. The Rife.
Rife? I don't know if I've heard of that. RIF.
Honestly, there's the field of sound frequency, sound healing energy, as in, because you have to remember that everything in this universe is energy, right? And sound is its own frequency, right? And so like you said, the body, when it's in a low metabolic state, when it has low vitality, this is a low energy state. And so bringing that high energy in order to heal people, this is why sound baths work. This is why tuning fork work. This is why mind over matter, having being in the right vibration, of being in the right thought frame of yourself is very important. This is why when you have a patient and they're like, okay, yeah, I'll do this and I'll do that, I'm like, it's not even about the food that you eat. It's about, are you in the right vibrational sense? Are you in the right vibrational field of thinking? Are you in the place that you need to be in order for you to conquer this, your disease, conquer this, your insulin resistance, conquer this, your sugar addiction? Because if your mentality is not there, you're not going to make it. If your mentality is not good, you could have the access to the best whole foods in the world. If your mentality is not there, if you don't have the energy to overcome your addictions, overcome your disease, you're not going to make it. And so a lot of the time, when I'm talking to my patients, You can give them a list of groceries. You have to have that motivational talk with them to say, hey, here's what we're doing. Are you ready? Do you got this? Do you, as in, it's part of it. And it's it may be the most important part of it, because if you don't have that vibrational energy, if you don't have that understanding of this is what I need to do and I can do this, you're not going to make it.
Can I just riff on that? I know we need to wrap up. It's an hour and 15 minutes, and I'm sure Amelia's going, oh my God. Okay, I'll say one last thing. I love that, Dr. Fume, and I completely agree. I honestly believe it's the thing. And I believe that there's three things. And I ask my clients, I have sort of like in my first couple of weeks, I'm working with their thoughts and their beliefs. Why are you doing this? Not just that I don't want to suffer anymore. I don't want just migraines. But when I get rid of the migraines, I'm going to be moving into a higher vibrational life. Am I prepared to that? Do I believe three things? One, that it's possible to overcome the suffering and the pain I'm trying to overcome. Do I think it's possible? Do I believe it's possible for me? Do I believe I'm worthy of it? And do I believe it's safe? And do I believe it's safe to move into this new reality, into this higher state, to heal, to be happier? And if it doesn't feel possible, if I don't think I'm worthy and I don't think it's safe, it's not going to happen. But now the beautiful thing is it's not going to happen just because these unconscious patterns will rise up and they'll be experienced as resistance. Those parts of us will suggest and justify exceptions, going back to the apple pie, right? But it's fine that they're doing that. If you don't have a way of working with that inner resistance and recognizing it, there's a part of me that doesn't feel worthy of this. Clear skin, right-sized body, happier moods, more energy, whatever, right? Like, it's amazing how many little parts of us don't feel like it's possible, that we're worthy, or that it's safe. And you work with that, and then things clear, and then you just can move forward, because it's easy to do what you want to do. There's no discipline required to do what you want to do. So if you have an inspired vision and you know why you want to get off the junk food and onto a low carb and start working out with Amelia and go see Dr. Fume to make sure you're in good shape, you have a really inspired why, and your thoughts are aligned and you get your energy aligned. It's just a matter of time before it happens. But if it scares you that it's going to happen, that's the work. That's the work, right? So that it stays free and clear. And then it just feels like you're moving towards the joy of the answered prayer every day, instead of the, oh God, I can't eat Black Forest cake for breakfast. Because that was
Can you eat, right? What will serve you? That's something that I talk a lot about is, what foods for breakfast. I was just talking to a client yesterday about their breakfast habits, and they said they'd been wearing the CGM for 2 weeks, and they said, well, I learned something that if I don't move, like actively move after my breakfast, my blood sugar will spike. And I said, okay, so what's the plan? Do you want to change your breakfast, or do you want to move after you eat? And he goes, I want to move after I eat. He didn't want to change his breakfast, and that's fine. And I said that. I'm like, if this works for you, if you feel good and you look forward to eating it, do it. And to manage your blood sugar, you know what you need to do. It's easy. It's simple. You're okay doing it. Great. So finding what works individually for everybody is a journey. And I love that all three of us are in this community with that awareness of, one, you're not in it alone. Secondly, community matters, right? And I think third, the sky's the limit, right? Anything is possible. And the way we're talking today has been so inspiring, because I think we're all actively trying to break down this habit or this assumption that there's one magic pill or there's one silver bullet that's going to make my life all better, and although I tend, as a food first personal trainer, to say food is one of the biggest influences and impacts on the quality of life that we have, it's a little bit of everything. And for every person, it just depends on, what you need more or less of. And you have to decide that, right? You choose, you get to make the choice. And Fumi always says, you get to do this. And don't focus on what you can't do or you shouldn't do. You get to do these great things.
As in, here at the Magic of Metabolic Health, I want to emphasize your ability to choose, your ability to do anything that you want to do. And there's nothing more empowering than that. I get to wake. I woke up today. I not only am I here, it is an honor and a privilege to be here. So now I'm here on this plane of existence. I'm like, okay, I get to choose what am I going to go about to doing today? What do I get to eat? What am I going to allow into my body? What activity am I going to get into? Who will I see? Who will I talk to? Where will I go? What shenanigans am I going to put myself in? Like all of that is a conscious choice, and I get to choose that. And every single person should be able to get that choice also, instead of feeling kind of like resigned about what you have to do or what you need to do. What do you want to do?
Right.
So yeah.
Yeah. So Florence, I want to make sure that you plug all your things, right? But
Okay.
before you plug all the things, we do want to ask you one more question. And because we love magic and we believe in magic, we would love for you to share a magical metabolic tip that you have found that works for you, whether it's personally or if it's professionally, something super magical and, not just, get 8 hours of sleep, but something that has transformed your life. Maybe it was 8 hours. I don't know. We do talk about sleep a lot, but what's something that's just lovely for you that you want to share with us?
Oh my gosh, that feels like a lot of pressure, but so this is for me personally, what has been one of the most magical things for me in my life. So I think I would say discovering the law of attraction for me. Some of the early books, I mean, I've been reading them for years, and they were they were slow unraveling in me understanding how the universe works. It truly, absolutely, unequivocally works that way. That our thoughts are vibrations, that there's mind over matter, that we have a very direct hand in how things unfold, that we can manifest stunning things, miraculous things. I have manifested miraculous things. And knowing that we live in a magical world is the most ultimate magical thing, really, right? And it's there for everybody. And it's what draws, I think, to the surface. So when I have a heart's desire and I'm moving forward, I can feel it arising from my heart, from within my body, within my life, maybe from my soul, I don't know. And it's arising. It's like, oh, it'd be so great to do this documentary. It's something I'm working on. It'd be so great to do that, right? And I can feel it arising in my life. At the same time, while I begin to sort of visualize it, see it happening, calling it in, moving forward with it, this is when the fears and the doubts and the resistance will come up. That's when I get to do my work on that. It's the ultimate work, because that's the little parts of us that are wounded, that are holding trauma, that are scared. And we get to sort of continually be in a process of moving forward with those parts of us. So I'd say that's the most magical work I've done. But the simple things, like you said, like for someone just starting out, like the idea of walking 10, 15 minutes after every meal, golden, powerful, can be miraculous for many people. Like that can be a miracle. It can totally stabilize their blood sugars and allow them to eat more carbs than they would if they were just going to go and sit at their desk after or something.
Yeah. So please share with us all the fabulous links and websites and social media, wherever you want us to go. Tell us.
Well, I really am not doing much. I'm sort of on a sabbatical year right now because I'm trying to work on a documentary, but I'm actually still on the sabbatical part. I haven't really, I haven't really done too much to figure out how am I going to raise funds. But I want to do a documentary basically on the topic of metabolic health and connecting all the links. You know what really fired me up, made me even more passionate than I have been in a while about it, is I just read Oprah's book called Enough. Have you guys read it yet? She's so brilliant and I love her so much. And her little doctor that she co-authored it with, just seems very sweet. And the book is just like no mention of metabolic health. I don't understand how all the best minds and the giant, epic, life-changing heart that Oprah has, and it's missed. It was missed. So I just thought, well, my documentary is not going to be redundant. Her book didn't say it all. It didn't even talk about it. So I think there's still room for a documentary that really sort of gets to the heart of metabolic health and how sugar impacts it and what we need to do to walk ourselves out of this disaster and do more to protect future children, future generations. So I'm working on that. If you're looking for someone to help you reduce, if not eliminate your consumption of sugar specifically, that's what I do. You can go to florencechristophers.com. I'm not active on social media. I have a VA that used to post a few things, but I've never really been active there. So I'm kind of boring that way. But if you're looking to check me out, you just go to my website, florencechristophers.com. Okay. And if you are interested in the documentary, or being a part of that or supporting it, or my God, helping me fund it, that would be fabulous. Then you can also go to my website and just sign up for the newsletter, because through that newsletter, I will send updates and invitations for people to be a part of what I'm doing with that.
Did you want to mention the summit, or is that also?
Not doing the summit.
Oh, okay.
Not doing the summit. My next summit will be this documentary that I'm done with summits. I'm reaching 35,000 people at a time, which is great. But come on, I should be reaching 3.5 million.
Yes.
That's right. All right. I love it. Energy.
Florence, have you heard of the film Healing Humanity?
No.
It just premiered, and I have not seen it yet, but Dr. Tony Hampton is in it.
Okay.
And many other metabolic health practitioners.
Hey.
A local former nurse here in the Seattle area is involved, so I keep meaning to follow up with her to get the information on how we can view it or how we can host a screening, because we also just hosted 2 screenings of the Cholesterol Code.
Yeah.
Which is an amazing documentary and is now available on Amazon for rent or purchase. Yeah. So there's definitely people making headway. There's also a Fat Fiction documentary that I really enjoy. But, the more, the better. We need more accessible documentaries.
There's still, I feel like I haven't seen Healing Humanity, but I still feel like there's not quite enough talk about sugar being addictive. It is an opiate. And if it's an addictive, let me just ask this question. If it's actually an addictive substance, and all the evidence suggests that it is, every study done suggests it is. It's acting like other drugs of use and abuse, at least in lab rats. And the clinical and anecdotal evidence suggests that humans will say, I seem to be addicted, right? Then if we as adults do our best to protect children from addictive substances, from porn, from vaping, from alcohol, from whatever, why in the hell are we not protecting children from this substance? Like, what in the heck are we thinking? But I think there's still not enough push around that, the addiction piece. So I think my documentary will be pretty heavy on that. Like, if this is an addictive substance, we know it metabolically damages. What in the hell are we doing? Humans, hello.
Right. Yeah. No, I like that. Yeah, go for it. And maybe we can stay in touch and talk about resources, because I know a few folks who were involved with the Cholesterol Code production as well as Healing Humanity. And as far as I know, they were all, either crowdfunded or, had private donors. They didn't have a lot of money, but they made it work. And so we can talk offline about opportunities and deepening our connections and getting the most out of our network, because we have a pretty solid metabolic health network across the world now.
Yes.
So I'm so glad also that you mentioned CGMs several times, because that is something that I utilize as a really big tool when I work with people. And so fortunately, we actually have a discount code for the Lingo CGM. So anyone listening or watching, when you check out and get your one single CGM, comes in a box for a 2-week period, at the checkout, you just type in Metabolic Magic, and it's all one word. And this is for Lingo. It's hellolingo.com, I believe. So I love that you're aware of that, because it's just an amazing tool for people. And then, Fume, did you want to do you have anything to update us on about your website or your concierge?
Well, I'm working with a microbiome company so that you can be able to kind of take your own test your own microbiome and see if you have a predominance to, sugar, insulin resistance that could explain why your enzymes are not working with you to digest certain foods and things like that. I'm hoping to, by the next episode, to have that updated on the website, on the social media, so that you could just go ahead and test your microbiome at home and let you know what you need to do. But yeah, thanks for mentioning that. As in, I really am very passionate about gut health in general, and that's why we're here. That's how we started this podcast. 2 years ago at the Low Carb USA in San Diego, and that's how it all started. It was like, can we get metabolic health to be sexy? And that's how Metabolic Sexies got started. That's how it all got started.
Yeah.
To be here
That's
on
awesome.
episode 26 with you.
Yeah, we're just going to keep going. And so thank you again, Florence, for your time, for your effort, for your passion, for your compassion. We loved this time together. And I'm so happy that you are taking a sabbatical and striving to do this other thing, because, like I said, the more the merrier. The more people we have coming together to educate the masses on metabolic health, the happier and healthier we're all going to be. So
Truly.
Yeah. All right, folks. Well, thanks again for listening and tuning in. My name is Amelia. This is Dr. Fume and Florence Christophers. We are the magic of metabolic health. Thank you for being part of our village, and we'll see you next time.
We're bringing healthy back. Them other bros don't know about the facts.